2, 1.
Hello everyone, my name is Shane McElroy and welcome to all of you joining us on our first of 2 pre-breeding webinars happening this week in advance of the upcoming breeding season. The season is moving fast and with plenty of rain and weather challenges this year. Hopefully the calving season has gone well for you and preparations are underway for breeding in the coming weeks. We have a good number of important topics for you today around breeding and genetics particularly, and I'm delighted to have a number of excellent speakers from ICBF, from Devea and Ross Brady from Tirlán 2020 Beef Club as well. And they'll guide us through some of the key decisions to be made in advance of and during the upcoming breeding season. So for today's interactive session, you'll also be able to put your questions to our expert speakers by email to questions@tirlanfarmlife.com or by text message to 086 180 3947. And if you're happy to, sure, also include your name and county as well. So for our webinar today, we've got a number of topics. We have ICBF who will update us on genetic improvement in the dairy herd and breeding in the right direction for a valuable dairy heifer and for a beef calf as well. Devea Genetics will cover off a couple of topics around sex semen and also sire selection for the dairy herd. And picking bulls to suit both the dairy replacements and also for beef calves of good value as well. And Ross Brady then will give us a programme update on the Beef 2020 Club within Tirlán as well. So look, the webinar today will be recorded and will be available afterwards via Tirlán Farm Life and on our YouTube channel. Just as a reminder, I'd like you to become part of the conversation by sending in your questions by email to questions@tirlanfarmlife.com or by text to 086 180 3947. So without further ado, I'll hand over to our first speaker, Brian Kingston from ICBF, who will discuss breeding for genetic improvement in the dairy herd. So over to you, Brian. Thanks.
Thanks very much, and thanks for having me on there this morning. So yeah, I'll kick it off there this morning there, just go through the I suppose what EBI is delivering on the ground and some of the guidelines farmers can do this year ahead of the spring 2023 breeding season. So yeah, look, first of all, I suppose, look, what has EBI delivered, I suppose, on a national level? So yeah, look, if you look at the graph here on the slide here, again, we're just kind of, I suppose, we're just kind of showing the rates of genetic gain there by first calving females there over the past 20 years. So if you look even there, just on the even on the blue line there in the graph, that's the average EBI of first calving heifers there over this last number of years, okay? So you can see there, look, the average EBI of first calving heifers there in 2021 there is 159. And I suppose, look, when you compare these to the heifers of over 20 years ago, you know, where you can see where it was a minus figure, there's about €175 of a difference between them, okay? So I suppose, again, that equates to about an extra €350 profit per lactation for the heifers that are calving down in 2021 compared to the heifers of 2001. So again, look, you can really highlight, I suppose, the sort of genetic gain that's been made over this period. And I suppose, again, look, it really wasn't until the launch, I suppose, of the national breeding programme there in 2005, so the Dairy Gene Ireland programme and the introduction of genomic selection in young bulls there in 2009, I suppose that really started to help and accelerate that rate of genetic gain there for Irish farmers as well. So you can see there, look, even the trends for the milk and fertility, look, they started really to take off there from 2009 onwards. So you can see there, look, the orange line there, look, which is the milk sub-index there, and the green line, which is the fertility sub-index. They both started increasing at the same time and at an equal rate, which is exactly what you want. I suppose, look, prior to that, early on in the years, you can see, look, that green line, the fertility, that was declining, but the milk sub-index, that was increasing. So I suppose, again, look, the introduction of the EBI, you know, changed the direction of these trends. So then I suppose, look, what does it mean for farmers? You know, all this rate of genetic gain financially, what does it mean? So I suppose it equates to an extra 5 cents per litre per farmers as well. And I think, look, most farmers will identify the cows they're milking today are, you know, are a lot better than the cows that they are milking there over 10 years ago. So we just move it on to the next slide. So again, look, it's just this is a really good table there, again, to show that I suppose EBI is selecting more profitable and sustainable cows for Irish farmers. So again, look, this table, it's just showing, I suppose, the key performance indicators broken down there by herd EBI. So again, look, these are some of the main KPI figures that contribute, I suppose, to greater profitability for Irish farmers. So look, you can see there, look, again, look, herds in the top 20% there for herd EBI, you know, they're performing a lot better than herds there in the bottom 20%. And look, even if you look at that highlighted box there, and if you just compare the top 20% there against the national average, you can see the difference there between the different KPI metrics. So like, for example, there, look, the kilo mixed solids there, look, that's 472 compared to 425 of the average. You know, the fat and protein percentages are higher, and the calving interval there, you know, that's 367 compared to 385. And look, the 6-week calving rate there, again, look, 79% there compared to 67%. So again, you can see, look, also as well, I suppose, just on the bottom line there in the table, you can see there, look, again, look, herds in the top 20% for herd EBI, they're producing a lot less greenhouse gas emissions compared to herds to the lower EBI herds there as well. So you can see, look, that difference there in kilograms of fat and protein corrected milk there as well. So again, look, EBI, look, it's playing a key role again, you know, I suppose genetic gain and improving through EBI is a key factor and will play a key role, I suppose, in reducing carbon in Irish farms there going forward there as well. So just to move it on there to the guidelines there. So yeah, look, here we've just, I suppose, just plotted out, I suppose, the 6 different steps or the 6 different areas, I suppose, to focus on there ahead of this year's breeding season. So yeah, I suppose just the first step there, I suppose, look, the very first step, I suppose, before kind of going selecting bulls, the first thing, I suppose, is to look at your own herd first. Know your own herd's strengths and weaknesses, and I suppose use your ICBF scorecard report there to identify these. And look, we will be posting out, I suppose, these breeding guidelines and the EBI scorecard report to herds there over the next coming days as well. So use that, identify your areas that you need to improve on, and identify the areas that you're strong in. And look, I suppose that scorecard report, it's really helpful in the sense that, look, it shows the kind of the star rating system, I suppose, for each of your each of your sub indexes in your herd, so you can easily identify, you know, what traits you're strong in and what traits that need improvement in. So I suppose, look, just the next step then, look, define your breeding goals. Look, clearly identify the traits that you wish to improve in your herd. And I suppose in conjunction then, I suppose, with your EBI report, you can also, I suppose, use kind of there's various herd plus reports as well to help you with that. So like, for example, even the crop performance report, you can benchmark again your own herd's performance in your crop against milk, fertility and genetics. Another example there is you can actually use the calving report as well, again, to assess the actual calving performance on your farm as well, and even there the dairy trend report there as well, so you can track or see the trends for the different KPIs in your herd there over the last number of years as well. So yeah, definitely, look, define your breeding goals and stick to them, not to kind of be chopping and changing from year to year. Stick to them there and define your goals. So I suppose the next step then, look, select a team of high EBI bulls then from the active bull list. So again, look, that's the active bull list, a list of top 75 bulls that are ranked on EBI that semen is available to purchase. And again, you can access that list there again from the ICBF homepage there as well. So I suppose, look, with that as well, another part of it is, I suppose, to make sure that you're using a team of bulls, a large team of bulls, and to use them equally on your herd as well. And again, look, the others will agree, and it's, I suppose, it's something that I suppose that can't be highlighted enough, or there can't be enough importance put onto it, because again, I suppose if you're not using a large team of bulls, and again, if you overuse on certain individual bulls, and let's say those bulls happen to fall or drop an EBI, then again, look, the genetic merit of the progeny then will also be affected. So again, by using a team of bulls, it minimises the risks. Some bulls will go up, some bulls will go down, but it'll get even out and result in a much overall higher reliable bull team there as well. And I suppose, look, just for the maximum usage or guidelines, again, I suppose no more than 15% of matings should be to any one bull as well. I think nationally, look, that figure is coming in at about 34%. So yeah, that percentage of calves born in dairy herds to one individual bull is about 34%. So that is a figure that, look, that definitely that we would like to see improvement on then as well. Yeah, look, I suppose the fourth step then, again, look, breed from your highest EBI females there as well. Look, again, look, ideally you want to breed females, with an EBI of greater than 150 there, EBI to dairy I. And And again, look, I suppose, look, then the other females, then they can then be mated then to high DBI beef bulls then from the start of the breeding season. And again, look, maybe if you're not in a position or you don't have enough replacements coming through, and that you might need to buy some. If you are buying heifers, just to make sure, again, ideally if they're genotyped, and again, look, with an EBI there of greater than 200 then as well. Okay. And I suppose, look, the fifth step then as well, and look, I know we'll touch it there again on later slides through today's presentations, but yeah, look, using that dairy beef index there is key as well. Again, to breed good quality calves from the dairy herd, use BFI from the, I suppose, use BFI and use that dairy beef active bull list as well. Again, that's available on the ICBF homepage there as well, and I'll go through that in what the dairy beef index is and its makeup there in the next slide there as well. And look, just the final step then as well. I suppose, look, use your sire advice then, run that sire advice mating program then as well. So again, it's an online application, allows you the selectables that you wish to use for the breeding season, and then match them then to the most suitable cows in your herd as well. So it simplifies the process, very straightforward. And again, I suppose it's a really useful tool there to maximize the genetic gain then in your herd then as well. So I suppose just to go on to the next slide there. Yeah, I suppose, look, just the GBI, that dairy beef index, look what it is. Look, I suppose it's a really useful tool there, really use index breeding tool there to identify beef bulls suitable for use on dairy cows. So short gestation, easy calving bulls. Again, that will produce progeny, again, with a higher carcass mare and a higher calf value again. And again, look, it's just ranking bulls in accordance to their genetic and their calving and carcass performance there as well. And look, similar to the EBI, it's expressed in euro then as well. So you can interpret it again, just, for every €1 increase in GBI, that can be interpreted as a €1 increase in a bull's profit per progeny. And again, to maximize overall profitability, use bulls with the highest dairy beef index as well. And look, I suppose how it's made up, what traits make up it. So I suppose it's really made up of your calving sub-index there and your beef sub-index then as well. So again, look, really, it is the best index really to use to produce good quality animals from the dairy herd that'll have minimal impact from the dairy farm as well. So that will have no consequences, on gestation or calving difficulty then as well. So yeah, I suppose, look, with it, I suppose the kind of recommendation or I suppose the guidelines on it again is, breed your high EBI cows to high EBI dairy bulls, and maybe then breed your lower EBI cows, to beef bulls. And because again, look, that approach, it kind of increases the genetic gain of your milking herd, but it also increases the number of more profitable, more valuable beef calves coming from your dairy herd there as well. So look, definitely to zone in, and this is the best index to use for choosing beef bulls on your dairy herd. So I suppose just to move it on there to the next slide there. Yeah, I suppose, look, just that commercial beef value then, I suppose just briefly outline what it is. Again, look, it's genetic value for all animals likely to be finished for beef. And again, that can be just used as a selection tool for farmers, and look, particularly for dry stock farmers, to again help them make more informed decisions, around buying or selling, with this genetic information at its hand. And look, similar to the EBI there, look, it's expressed in euro. Again, the higher the CBV, the higher the genetic merit for the beef traits. Okay, so again, look, animals on average will be faster growing, have a higher carcass value. And I suppose, look, really ideally, what traits then make it up? Look, it's made up of 5 traits then coming from the terminal index. So again, look, your carcass weight, carcass conformation, your carcass fat, your docility, and your feed intake then again. So really, it's the terminal index of an animal without those calving traits. And what we've done, look, we've just have it, I suppose we kind of have it broken down into 3 different categories, and I suppose it's available for animals that, for suckler males, for uncalved females, for your dairy males, and for your dairy beef crosses then as well. And as I said, it's broken down into 3 different categories. So for example, your 1 to 5 star and dairy males will be different to a 1 to 5 star for your suckler males. So again, animals are compared in their own categories, so you can identify the better ones then as well. So again, look, farmers can go in, log into their Herd Plus account, go to profiles, and they can actually see all their CBV then of the eligible animals then as well. So look, definitely encourage farmers to go in and check it out, because look, it's really, I suppose it's really important and really kind of useful information to know this, I suppose, to know this genetic information on them as well. So Yeah, look, that's that kind of gives you an overview there, I suppose, of the some of the main breeding guidelines ahead for this year's breeding season.
Brian, thanks very much for that. Excellent, and look, really good insights there to breeding a better heifer replacement for within the herd, and also how to pick those bulls for breeding a more valuable beef animal, which is a really important consideration for the whole industry at the minute as well. So look, we'll keep moving through the slides, guys, and through the presenters, and we'll take questions. But just as a reminder, to send your questions into 086 180 3947, and if you add your name and county, it'll be helpful as well. So we'll move straight on now to the guys from Devea. So we have John, we have John Lynch, and to start us off on sex semen, with Niall Duffy then coming through then as well on sire selection. Again, more the practical side of it, picking bulls to suit dairy replacements, and also for beef animals then as well. So look, I'll hand over to yourself first, John.
Okay, thanks very much, Shane. Just a quick update on sex semen in the 2023 breeding season. I suppose we have huge demand this year for sex semen. It's growing annually, it's multiplying annually, and I suppose the one thing I would say is be prepared. If you intend to use sex semen this year, you need to speak to us or whoever you're getting your sex from, and you need to put your order in sooner rather than later. There's a national lab currently in Moore Park. It's finished for this year, but there is a huge selection of high EBI sires already sexed. And I suppose we have a wide range of sires available in sex semen to suit every system. Niall will cover that in a while. And one thing we've just been brought to our attention the last week, Shane, is anyone that's thinking about doing synchronization programs on heifers, they need to be prepared. They need to talk to us, the AI company, or their AI technician, because all the technicians are under pressure for the breeding season, and in fairness to them, probably 1-2 bunches of heifers per day is the maximum they can handle. So speak to your technician beforehand. We're only a couple of weeks off breeding, so you need to be speaking to your technician this week, next week, and have them ready for when you'll have your heifer synchronized. So I'm going to hand over to Niall, and I have 2 slides at the end on dairy beef.
Thanks, John. Shane. Yeah, just as a quick slide here on the sire advice side there. Brian mentioned it earlier on. We're running this service this year, and my colleague Marty Hayes is heading this program. What it involves is, farmers can talk with ourselves about the type of bull that they want to use or the type of cow that they want to breed going forward. So it's just us giving our perspective on some extra information there that might be useful to the farmer. What it involves is we go into the farmer's herd, get a look at the performance so far over the years, and select a team of bulls based on where they want to go. So Marty Hayes is available there, and he can be contacted here directly at the office. So that's that, Shane. Just a little bit on the bull breeding program here at Devea. To touch on it there, I suppose what we're trying to do is breed a type of cow that is balanced and robust and suitable for Irish farmers. We share the same vision that farmers want. It's a productive cow with high components. That's what we're looking for in the bull dams. High components, nice development through the lactations. Along with that, we're looking for the ideal reproductive performance every year, trying to get cows to last over 5 lactations. And obviously then the functionality is extremely important, and it's an important part of robustness there, the ability to grow old and the ability to have the intake capacity to do all the functions that's needed every day from a cow, which is, and we see differences in cows there throughout the country, and a lot of that can be down to intake capacity of a cow. So, we're looking for that type of cow that is fit to eat enough forage that can maintain the functions that's required every day, mainly production, health, and and then obviously fertility, performance, and that'll all relate to the health. Then on the young bull breeding program, we're still sourcing some young bull calves again, but we're combining that idea about the cow with the extreme breeding values for index, and we're trying to combine the two. And you know, the EBI is, I suppose, there's a genetic gain every year, which is great to see. Even this year again, whereas last year, I suppose the top 10 bulls from last year's program are around that 380, and in the bull breeding program, we're looking for that high kilos of milk solids, you know, above 30, 100 milk sub index, and those really good component percentages then as well. So that's just a bit about what we're at here. We're testing around just over the 3,000 male calves through various methods of planned matings and also then just when they're born in the springtime. So that's that, Shane. We had updated breeding values there, as many people know. Every second month, ICBF update the breeding values. You know, there's new data incorporated. In the March evaluation, we got the data of the calves that were born from some of our most recent bulls. And this is a slide a bit about what breeding values are important when choosing a bull for your heifer. So what we would be saying is, look at the bulls that are under 5.5% calving difficulty. So make sure they have a proof in calving. If they have a reliability over 80%, that means they've got a calving proof on the ground. So that's the type of bull we're looking at there. And we can see an example here on the screen. It was one of our newest proven bulls, Casper. He's come in with 3.97. So there's a lot of calving records there. Yeah, 3.97 at 81% reliability. So it's nice figures there, and you could use this on any type of a heifer. Some farmers are using sex, and they ask the question, can I use a slightly higher breeding value and calving difficulty? For the main reason it's a heifer calf coming, not a bull. And the advice there is, yes, you probably could push it to 6%, but just be careful and use it onto the right type of a heifer, and continue to use the ones under 5.5 for smaller heifers. So that's that, Shane. Just this a little slide on maybe some of the key things to look for in a catalogue. If we start on the left-hand side of the screen, it's just an example of one of the bull dams. We'd often say if farmers probably start on the right. Sorry, Shane, they'd start and they'd take a look at the milk production. The production index there is probably where farmers start on this second one down. And you know, the solid kg is 37 on this bull, and that's a combination of the fat kg, the protein kg, which is made up of a combination of the milk kg combined with the fat and protein percent. So the average cow in Ireland at a 0 milk kg is doing around 6,044 kilos of milk. So that's the type of production that you could expect with on a mature herd if you had a 0 or a 1 kg of milk. So that's just a nice example. That's your base. A lot of farmers there at the moment are looking for the high component percentages, 0.41 and 0.23, and those in particular, those breeding values are really rising in the Irish bulls coming through as far as I can see. And that's just a lot of farmers is where to start looking at bulls. The EBI, of course, you're also looking for a really well balanced bull, a bull that has no faults. So you're looking for moderate values in almost every trait, and trying to avoid any big negatives, such as in health and maintenance, and of course then the production, you're looking for over 100. Finally then, when you have your bulls picked, I suppose you can still end up with a lot of bulls. Brian touched on it earlier, to use a team of bulls, and I think it's important to look at the parentage of the team and make sure that they're not all from the one sire. Those group of sires are selected, they're not all from the one sire. So just take a look at that. And finally then, if you want to take a look then at the production of the mother, it might help you understand the background of the parentage, and will that type of cow suit you. So we can see here on Star Trek, she's 5% fat, 4% protein, just doing the 6,200 kilos of milk. So they're just all the areas. It's often a blended decision-making process when it comes to choosing bulls, and I think it makes the whole thing a little bit more interesting, and you can help inform your decisions by using all the data that's there available. And finally then, 4 steps to genetic gain. I hope I'm not echoing Brian too much in this slide, but I think it's just taking a step back here And if we start from the bottom and move away to the right, the first part is, as Brian mentioned earlier, understand your performance, your current performance, mainly your fat percentage, your protein percentage, and your kilo milk solids. Take a look at your co-op milk recording report, and then it's time to, I suppose, select the cows for breeding, or maybe it could be selection by deletion process, where you're deleting out the cows that have extremely low components or lower than average. When farmers using sex semen, they really are looking to select the best genetics in the herd. So you could select the ones that are above the fat percent, above the protein percent, and then for the cows that's above first lactation, so the second and above, you could take into account then kilo milk solid. So if they're above all those averages, you're really selecting the best cows for breeding. The other important thing is if farmers are looking to improve functionality, if there's cows there that aren't working properly, or it's no harm to sit outside the parlour some evening and just take a note of the cows that might need improvement on their feet and legs, or else just need ultimately beef. The next part then is to select the sires, and sorry Shane, sorry there. The final part there, select the sires that on the traits you want to improve, and a bit of work into that. It's always important to select sires that are above the breeding values of your herd for fat and protein, and then we can give you a hand with that, and match the sires to the cows using the sire advice. The sire advice is a great tool for it, and once the sires are picked, it'll give you the top 3. Any of those 3 can be used. So if you want to select them yourself, but normally the first one is probably the best. But sometimes if you want to take a look at the 3 that's there and choose one yourself, that can be done also. And that's it, Shane, on that. Thank you. Yeah, just to finish off, genetics is a long-term solution to any problem, so it's important to just have a futuristic type view and understand where you want to go in the future. Breed healthy, productive, long-lasting cows, and it'll reduce your replacement rates and improve your production through age. And identify and breed from your top performing cows and heifers. Your heifers have the highest index, but there are some cows there that are still very suitable for breeding. So that's all from me, Shane. I'll hand it over to John. Thank you.
Okay, so what I'm going to cover now is just a brief on dairy beef. So I suppose a lot of sex semen being used. People can afford to make more informed breeding decisions regarding what beef sires they're going to use. The first thing you need to do is identify your target market. Do you want to sell calves at 3 weeks old? Are you taking them to yearlings? Are you going to whole road to beef? So I think you need to decide yourself what you're doing. What breed are you going to use? I think anybody that's doing a good job and sticking with the breed that suits them best is hitting their right markets, knows their business, and are definitely having a profitable dairy beef operation. What gestation are you happy with? So are you happy enough to go to 285, 286 days? Earlier in the breeding season, we all know cows won't carry as long, and calving difficulty. I suppose, Ross, you're going to cover that later, but I'm just going to hit it here now. There's good traditional breeds, so Angus and Hereford bulls that are up at 2.7 and 8% calving difficulty with 15 kgs a carcass, versus maybe some of the easier calving ones at 2% calving difficulty with only 4, 5, 6 kgs a carcass. So I think you need to really delve into the figures. Ross is going to cover that later. And the carcass traits, where are you happy with? And I think from a dairy farmer point of view and a beef farmer, we need a balance. I think there's a lot of talk out there in the industry about bulls with 25 and 30 kilos a carcass. We need to be more realistic. I think if we can use Angus and Hereford bulls with 10 to 15 kgs a carcass, we're going in the right direction. I think the Belgian Blues, the Limousins, the Albrechts, the Charlies, we'll say the Continental breeds, yeah, their carcass is going to be a little higher anyway, but I think we need a balance. We need a balance between calving, acceptable gestation for the dairy farmer, a calf that has the capability of going on and making a profitable beef animal. So I think we need to combine all them. We need to look at the DBI figure, the beef sub index, and the overall figure, because of course the new carbon that was included in the DBI figure is taken in age of slaughter, and going forward that's what we all need. We need animals that are going to thrive quickly, put on kgs cheaply, and make it into profitable beef production, okay? So early in the season, the key points is see what you're comfortable with as a dairy farmer, but we need to push our boundaries a little more. We need to use bulls slightly harder calf, and I'm only talking about slightly. Even to put your calving difficulty from 2 to 4%, it opens a lot of opportunities in breeds and bulls. Carcass weight, anything over 10 kgs of carcass weight is probably the realistic figure to be looking at. And gestation, you're going to have to move it to 284 or 5 days. And just to kick off then, the next slide. So I think later in the breeding season, and I suppose this is where maybe dairy farmers are going to become a little selfish, and cows calving from now on, you want to tighten them back as much as you can. I suppose shorter gestation. So I suppose we have 3 bulls at the very start of our dairy beef catalogue. I'm not going to go into them names, but they are 279-day gestation length. So if you want to tighten your calving season, you need to consider the likes of those bulls. They are all positive on carcass. Thousands of calves registered off of some of them. People that are rearing them are happy, but their figures are not huge. So they've been tested heavily in the dairy beef program, and their carcass figures have shortened a bit. But definitely consider your options. I mean, there is a range of breeds there in this, but as you get later in the breeding season, you definitely have to look at calving gestation length, and to keep reasonable calf quality. You need good calves, you don't need rubbishy calves. The last thing I am going to cover is the triple mix semen. Last year was the first year we used it. It is 3 bulls of the 1 breed and the 1 straw. So we would have used it in Angus and Belgian Blue last year. The results are very, very positive. Conception rates look to be 5, 6, 7% better. So I suppose after 3-4 weeks of breeding, anything that can improve your conception rates by 6 or 7% is a huge help. And I suppose, look, just to finish off, if there's any queries, don't hesitate to contact us in Tovey, and we'll try and help any way we can. So that's the end of our presentation.
John, thanks very much. And Niall as well. That's excellent. I think there's going to be plenty of questions coming in on that, or we have some good number of questions already. And but we'll just move on to our third speaker, third presentation, and in the form of Ross Brady, who's going to give us an update on the Beef 2020 Club program and how that's going. And I'll hand over to you, Ross.
Perfect, thanks, Shane. So the 2020 Beef Club, I suppose, for people that need a quick update on it, it's an integrated calf to beef program between Tirlawn and Keepack Group. So we're entering our 5th year of the club now. At this stage, we're growing our numbers year on year. You'll see there in this little map of Ireland the counties we are covering, and we've calf rearers and finishers in 18 different counties currently. The club is open to dairy, beef and suckler farmers. There's a club premium paid on all breeds of animals, and obviously terms and conditions apply. And then obviously the breed bonuses are there on top of that as well. We have an on-farm technical support team, which a team within Tirlawn, and also a Keepack support team. So basically we cover all things from genetics, calf rearing, nutrition, both ruminant and soil nutrition, the grassland management, animal health, and obviously the procurement of the animals, which the Keepack team focus on, is vitally important to make sure animals are selected at the right stage and at the right carcass weights and fat. We also have introduced a calf Locator app, which is involved with ICBF. I'll go through that a little bit later. And the 2020 Beef Club is one of the options for the Tirlawn Sustainability Action Payment. We would ask club members people that are interested in the club to fill out an expression of interest form, which is here on the right hand side. You can contact a member of the 2020 team is here, but also talk to any of the Glanbia representative, Tirlawn representatives for further information or to get an expression of interest form. So who can get involved in the club? Dairy farmers raising their own homebred calves to beef, dairy farmers who wish to supply calves into the club, farmers who buy in calves and rear to beef, suckler farmers bringing their own stock through to finish. We also have suckler farmers who'll be buying in additional calves to rear to finish, and beef finishers who'll be buying in weanlings or store cattle and bringing to beef. So one of the key elements of the club, and it's an area we're putting a lot of focus on, is the selection of the, I suppose, to breed the right animals to suit the club and to improve the overall carcass traits of the animals. So this is just a small list of some of the bulls that are scoring very high on I suppose DBI, but I just want to highlight some of the key figures within that beef sub-index that we would be looking at to bring it to the next level in terms of selection. So the DBI figure, which is there with the red arrow over it, is, like I said, they're all high scores in that, but the beef sub-index is also very important, because within the DBI, over 40% of the selection is around gestation length and calving ease, which is important. But we are, as someone buying in calves, is more interested, I suppose, in the overall carcass merit and carcass traits of these animals. So we would advise farmers to select in terms of calving ease to suit your own herd or suit your own cows. Obviously, the minus days in terms of gestation length has I suppose, a clear correlation between calving ease or lower birth weight calves. So the lower the gestation length, more likely to have easier calved animals. But I just want to highlight within, say, the top breed of the Angus breeds here, when you look at the overall carcass traits, so this bull here, KYA, is one of the most used Angus bulls over the last number of years on dairy herds. He scores very high on DBI, but when you look at his overall carcass traits, they're actually a minus figure. He's good on gestation length and calving ease. But just to look at another option of another bull there, which is the top bull here, he's also good on gestation length and at calving ease, but he has almost 26 kilos in the difference in carcass weight. So he will still be more likely to have low birth weight calves, but they will grow very rapidly and a lot quicker and have a higher carcass kill out, and are more likely to finish hitting a better grade as well. We have farmers using, there's a bigger uptake now in the like of Aubrac bulls, which are showing very high in carcass weight, Belgian blues, and what I would say, as carrying on from what John said earlier, we would be advising farmers to pick or select your cows that can carry these bigger birth weight calves, and maybe use them earlier for your early lactation cows, or your ones that are calving earlier on. Use the higher carcass weight bulls for these. Another one I'd like to highlight here is these Hereford bulls. So if you look at these two bulls with the ring around them, they're very similar in terms of DBI, very similar in terms of beef sub-index. They're both short gestation and easy calving, but there's 14 kilos in the difference in carcass, which is very substantial. So basically, we would like farmers to put more of an emphasis on the carcass weight figure and try and improve that, but also keep an eye on calving ease and gestation length. The limousine bulls here at the bottom are very, very good on carcass weight, but are more likely to carry an extra few days. So I just mentioned our Calf Locator app, which is it's within the ICBF web app. It's in the Stock Express section within this. The one thing I would ask any of our suppliers or people looking to sell calves through the app is to make sure that you record the sire. If the sire isn't recorded, we won't have this data available to our people that are looking to buy calves through the app. So in this middle section, you can filter out, people looking to buy calves can filter out what county they wish to purchase calves in, and then they can drill in when they click the view calf option. This information in the right hand side pops up, which shows the tag number, the age of the calf in months, the sire of the calf, the dam of the calf, but more importantly, the commercial beef value of the calf. So as Brian highlighted earlier on, we want to be targeting animals with a higher commercial beef value, and this trait is very important for anyone purchasing calves. It also, you can filter out by sex, which is the last column. So if people who haven't already filled out an expression of interest form have an interest in advertising their calves through this app to our club members, they need to fill out a form and send it back into us, and we will grant them access on this Calf Locator app, which is free to all club members. That's it for me.
Thanks very much, Ross, and also to our previous speakers. And look, lots of people sending in text messages there, mostly to ask their questions. So thanks to everyone who's doing that. Just a reminder, if you want to include your name and your county in that, some are and some aren't. We'll go through those questions now. But look, I think excellent presentations there from each of our four speakers. Lots to talk about. I go straight into the questions, and a lot of the questions so far, John Lynch, are for ye. So first question in there was from Martin O'Reilly in Laois. Which synchronization program would you recommend for dairy heifers on an out farm? I suppose maybe that question depends on sexed and conventional and so on, what the plans are. But
yeah, I suppose we just wouldn't really get into that. We would tell the farmer, talk to their vet. To be honest, we had something else on synchronization last week, and don't change anything. Go with the synchronization protocol that's in place. Timing of AI, suit the timing of AI with your synchronization program. But I think to plan it out now, definitely people need to start thinking about it and have it organized for when you are going to do it, because we're only 3 weeks away from when we're going to be starting AI. So, and there's only so many yards each technician can go to every day.
And it's gonna very much start with the bang, John, isn't it? Just on the programs. Yeah.
And like that's the way it's gone now, that technicians probably take on one herd of heifers each day in the around midday. So like each, and big bunches, they work together. But look, it's great to have a technician service still. They offer a great service. From our point of view, it's probably getting a little harder to get technicians because the season is so short now. So I think as farmers and ourselves, we need to work with them as best we can and keep them on side,
Almost a victim of our own success there with compact breeding and compact calving, isn't it?
Yes.
Leads to the other. And look, that's where we absolutely want to be, but it does then bring other challenges in terms of getting the workforce there to deliver, but lots of farmers doing their own as well. In terms of, just to answer maybe from a veterinary perspective, Martin, your question around the synchronization programs, there are a number of them available. You've got your double jabs with frosted lantern, and then you've got cedar and prids, but mostly cedars and heifers anyway, for bringing them on. And then if you're going with sexed, it can be sometimes good to go with your GnRH type injections as well. So you can end up giving quite a few injections, but then those work really well and get them in calf, especially when you're using sexed and fixed time AI and so on. So there's a number of options available. So I'd say talk to your own individual vet who's going to put you right, and then in consultation with the technician then as well. So just another question.
Shane, sorry for cutting across you, but just one thing to add, and I forgot to mention it earlier with sex semen. The best results we're seeing on farm is sex semen usage with heat detection aids, and I think there's a grant coming for those now. So anyone that's thinking about using a lot of sex semen going forward, we're not telling them what to do, but there is a lot of good heat detection aids out there, and they should possibly look into them. It's probably too late for this breeding season, but definitely for next year.
100% and work really well. They're not a requirement on farm, but they do work absolutely.
They are a help.
They're a good help, in fairness, and takes a good bit of labour out of it as well versus tail painting. But nothing wrong with the cheap and cheerful, and does a great job as well. So just one more question for you while I have you, John. It was, is there anywhere available to do a refresher AI course? So
Yeah, I suppose if you would want to be speaking to us very, very, very soon, our DIY courses are over for the year. But if you speak to anybody looking to train to do their own AI for next year, now next year I'm talking about, or maybe get a refresher done, if they talk to Rita Ryan in the reception in Duvay, she organises those courses. So talk to Rita. It may be a possibility. If we had 5 or 6, we probably would do a refresher course. But yeah, if you talk to Rita Ryan and Debate.
Get booked in there. That's 100%. Question for Brian in ICBF. Do I need to genotype all my calves to get CBV? That's from Michael in Kilkenny.
Yeah, good question. Yeah, so at the moment, if you genotype your dairy beef calves, their CBV will be displayed on the mark board. So we've rolled it out to the mark boards there, I suppose just launched there before Christmas time. So if they're genotyped, any of these dairy beef calves or dairy male calves, their CBV will display on the mark board. However, if they're not genotyped, what farmers can do when they just log into their Herd Plus account and just go to their main kind of profile menus and go into under view profiles, and we have a profile there, CBV, commercial beef value, and it just shows them the listing of all the eligible animals and all their CBV values on it then. So that will display for all animals in their own herd, regardless if they're genotyped or not genotyped. But at the moment, for them to display CBV values to display in the mark board, the animal would have to be genotyped at the moment anyway.
Very good. And one other one there as well for you, Brian, is no name, but where can I find the DBI for stock bulls? Is there such a thing?
Yeah, again, I suppose, look, probably what's a go-to place, like anything, if you go in and search the animal tag number on the animal search, and search it, and you can change between indexes there, between dairy, beef, and we'll say if you want to show your replacement or your terminal indexes, and also as well, there's the stock bull finder there as well, where you can go in and you can view the different indexes then for stock bulls there as well.
Very good, very good. Niall, one for you. Can I make changes through the sire advice after 3 weeks of breeding, depending on how the start of breeding has gone? So in other words, as many cows are coming back,
Yeah,
and can make the changes then.
yeah, you could rerun it, John, or you could do the repeat cows that are coming again. But I'd say that probably the best thing would be to rerun it, no problem at all, and download it yourself and have a look then.
Yeah. And there's another question, no name, but it's around the banding for nitrates. So what bull should I use if I want to stay in band 2? And if someone is in band 3, what sires should they use?
100% the most common question that we're receiving this year. It's a new breeding criteria, if you like, that has been applied to farmers there. So yeah, a lot of thought needs to be put into it. That's the first thing. If you're in band 2, I suppose it's not a constraint on kilo milk solids. I don't think it is anyway, because we have lots of bulls there. Your focus then has to turn on to kilos of milk solids improvement for sure, but doing that through the percentages, we all have heard it before, but you'd be looking for bulls that are, have really over 30 kilo milk solids, 0.2 protein, maybe even 0.3 fat, and then taking a look at the type of cow that they're from, and making sure that she's doing 4% protein, and then if you're in band 3, I suppose you need to have a think about why you're in band 3. You're probably there already because of your breeding strategy so far. They're doing a good job on that. And if they're happy with the position they're in, I think long and hard before I change my breeding policy and type of bull that I'd use. But for those farmers that want to keep on moving, I'd say maybe use bulls with a higher kg of milk solids, bulls with over 35. And then take a look at the type of cow again that they are from, and is there plenty of will to milk in the type of bull dam. And but the other one then is to also take a look at the type of cows in your own herd that you're breeding from. If you want to stay in band 2, breed from those high protein cows, and if you're in band 3, again the same. But if you're in band 3, I definitely would never sacrifice your components on any bull. And there's lots of bulls there still that have a higher kg of milk with still decent percentages, you know.
Yeah. No,
So
that's
there's-
100%.
Yep.
Thanks very much for that. Now,
Thanks, John.
Here, one for Ross, or actually two questions from James and Meath. Do all cattle breeds qualify for the 2020 bonus? And the second question James is asking is, how do I get access to the Calf Locator app?
Perfect, yeah. So all breeds do qualify for the 2020 bonus, and then there's a further beef breed then for Angus and Hereford. But as of today, all other breeds, including Friesian, would except Jersey, I suppose I should say, can avail of the 25-cent bonus. In terms of the Calf Locator app, you need to fill out the expression of interest form, so you can download that from Tirlon Farm Life, or you could get it from your local branch or business manager. Then ICBF will grant you access to the app, and it's free after that. You download the ICBF web app, and it's within that.
And Ross, is that calves only, or can yearlings come into that as well?
Yeah, so animals can be put into the app at any age. So we would have people selling weanlings and forward stores through the app as well. And a commercial beef value will be available for all them once there's a sire recorded.
Yeah, no, very good. John, two questions for yourself on sex semen. So some bulls I'd like to use are not available as sex, improve in the future. And what is the view of using sexed for male animals? Is it as reliable as conventional? So using sex to produce bulls.
So I suppose the first question, yeah, like the range of bulls is improving yearly. So like 3 years ago, we would have had probably 3 dairy bulls available sexed. I'm talking about Irish bred high EBI bulls. This year, we've over 20 bulls available sexed. So, you know, that will improve. Okay, I suppose really what you're going to see is maybe not as many dairy bulls entering the breeding program yearly, but there will be more and more of them available sexed. With regard to male, I presume we're talking about beef calves sired by male sex semen. Probably a high cost way of getting bull calves if you're talking about putting sex beef on dairy cows to breed bull calves, and because there isn't a huge gap between good female calves and good male calves at the minute. But yeah, it is there. The science is there. We have some beef breeds sexed at the minute. The #1 DBI bull on the active bull list at the minute is available sexed male. Our #1 Limousin is available sexed male. So look, those options are there. Where we see them being used is actually some pedigree breeders to breed high index, high DBI stock bulls. But yeah, I think I don't see it being a huge player in the market, but I don't see any problem with conception. The same, it will be reduced slightly, of course, the same as using any sex semen. But I would like to say one thing before we finish. Like, calves this year are a good trade, and they're a good trade because people have looked after them really well. I think calves coming to marts and calves being sold off farm are definitely a lot stronger than they were in other years and being better reared. And Ross, maybe you'd comment on that. Like, I think there is a better calf being, and things are being watched more. People want to breed better calves now.
Absolutely. No, there's the very real value difference that you'll see in the market when you go to sell them, and the repeat business as well for people coming back who are buying privately and so on. So it's absolutely the way to be going, and it's great that it is moving in that direction. Just one other one on sex semen, or maybe there's actually two, but the fertility impact of using sex semen. What's the knock in fertility there, or conception rates?
There definitely is a range, and the range isn't as big as it was. So when the original studies were done with Tagus back in 2017, there was a huge range. That range has got smaller. So I suppose roughly roughly, you'll get about 70% the conception of what you were getting with conventional semen. So if you were getting 70% conception with conventional semen, you'll get roughly around 50% with sexed. And I think that is the guideline a lot of people are working off of, that they'll buy 2 sex straws to get a Frisian heifer calf in the ground. Before, they were probably buying 4.5 conventional straws to get a Frisian heifer calf in the ground. So that's basically what you're talking about, 2 sex straws. But as I mentioned earlier, is working very, very well with heat detection systems collars.
Yeah, it's adding a lot of when you can get the AI timing right, isn't it? And knowing they're exactly on. And Brian, just to finish up, there's 2 questions there, no name, but how to order genomic kits and what is the cost, and then what's the turnaround time for genomic results?
Yeah, that's it. So I suppose how farmers can order their genotypes when they log into their Herd Plus account. If they go in under services and genomic services, and then they can, I suppose, select a group of females or select individual animals that they would like to genotype. So at the moment, we kind of offer a service. It's done through hair cards. So I suppose, look, just taking a hair sample from the tail end of the animal, and the farmer will receive out a hair sampling kit. Now, if a farmer also wants to genotype through tags instead of hair cards, that's no bother. Just I suppose just to contact us directly on that, and we'll arrange for those tags to be sent out to you, and to go ahead and genotype them through tags as opposed to hair cards. Yeah, I suppose the turnaround time of results. Look, so at the moment we're sending samples away to the lab kind of on I suppose a few different times a week. So from the date that the sample, I suppose, is returned from the farmer or returned back into ICBF, we're probably allowing about a 2 to 3 week turnaround time for genomic results. So once there's a genomic result on the animals, the farmer will get a text message to let them know that the results are up online. And I suppose there's 2 ways that the farmer can kind of view the genomic results. I suppose the first way, the farmer will get a detailed genomic evaluation report. And can compare, I suppose, all the indexes, before genotyping and after genotyping, and see what the difference is. And there's also a genomic results profile as well, where it displays an animal's, I suppose, its current genomic proof and the difference from its non-genomic proof as well.
Oh, excellent, Brian. Excellent, guys. We've come to the end of our questions. There's plenty more discussion we could have on all these topics, and it's very, very, very relevant. But look, I'd like to thank each of you for presenting your presentations and your slides, and for answering all those questions as well. And thanks to everyone at home for joining the webinar today and participation from your questions as well. Look, every farm's different, and there's always bespoke solutions needed for individual farms in different scenarios with sexed and with dairy beef, and some still using sock bulls and so on. So look, get in touch with the relevant advisor or specialist, be it in Devea or in Tirlán, or whoever is your advisor to help work through the solutions for your own farm. So look, hope everyone's got some good tips from the webinar today, and we'll have our next webinar tomorrow on the practical aspects of breeding management, and including animal health and nutrition. And we'll also be joined tomorrow by John Ryan, our future farmer in County Tipperary, who'll update us on his plans for breeding for this coming season as well. So look, we'll close our webinar. Thanks to everyone for joining and participating, to our speakers, Brian, John, Niall and Ross, and also to John and Yaris, who've been working in the background to deliver the webinar. So thanks for joining us today. See you for the next one tomorrow, and safe farming.
Thanks, all the best.